Welcome to all, and thank you for coming to the Rice County Commissioner District 1 Candidate Forum. My name is Melanie Fries, and I am the Voter Education Chair of the Voter Service Committee of the League of Women Voters of Northfield and Cannon Falls. We will start the candidate forum in a couple of minutes, but before we do, I would like to review some of the forum policies and rules. The candidate forum is free and open to the public. Because of the ongoing pandemic, the 2020 forums are being held online using a Zoom webinar that can host over 1,000 participants. While the audience can watch the forum in real time, audience members' audio and video will be muted throughout the entire forum. Chat functions will not be available. It is the League's policy to tape the entire candidate forum without editing so that citizens will see the event in its entirety and not just selected scenes or sound bites. This forum is being recorded and will be available online at lwvnorthfieldmn.org tomorrow. We will be asking questions that were submitted in advance, but audience members are also encouraged to submit questions to the forum via email at lwvnorthfieldmn.org. You may address the question to one candidate, but all other candidates will be given the opportunity to respond as well in the case of multiple candidates. Questions that are unclear, hostile, or of a personal nature will not be asked. Those that fall into the same general topic may be consolidated to allow us to cover as many topics as possible in the allotted time. All the questions submitted are the property of the League of Women Voters of Northfield and Cannon Falls. While all candidates were invited to participate in the forum today, Jake Gillen, a candidate for the Rice County Commissioner District 1, declined the invitation and chose not to attend. The League's policy is to allow candidate forums to proceed if at least one candidate is present. I would now like to turn the time over to Pat Johnson, co-president of the League of Women Voters of Northfield and Cannon Falls, for some opening remarks.
Thank you, Melanie. I'm Pat Johnson, co-president of the League of Women Voters in Northfield and Cannon Falls. I'd like to welcome you to the Rice County Commissioner District 1 Candidate Forum. The 2020 candidate forums are hosted by the League of Women Voters of Northfield and Cannon Falls and co-sponsored by the Academic Civic Engagement Office of St. Olaf College, the Center for Community and Civic Engagement at Carleton College, and Northfield Area Chamber of Commerce. We thank the candidate for attending today and our internet audience for viewing. This forum is a public service providing you with an opportunity to hear the candidate discuss important issues face to face. The views expressed here this morning are those of the candidate and not the sponsoring organizations. The League of Women Voters Minnesota, a nonpartisan 501c3 political organization, encourages informed and active participation of citizens in government and influences public policy through education and advocacy. We do not endorse candidates for office or political parties. If you're interested in learning more about the history of the League and our local league, we encourage you to go and visit an exhibit about the League, which is at the Northfield Historical Society through tomorrow, so you have today and tomorrow. Unfortunately, there's never enough time to cover all the issues raised. If you feel that your question was not addressed, please contact the candidate directly after the forum. And now I'd like to introduce our moderator, Mary Carlson, a certified moderator from the League of Women Voters.
Thanks very much, Melanie and Pat, for all of your work and the work of the League of Women Voters of Northfield and Cannon Falls board members. I've been a longtime member of the League and trained as a moderator. This is something I really enjoy. So I will do my best today to ensure that we have a smooth and effective forum, even in this very strange time, and in our first effort at doing this virtually. I want to really thank all of you who are here, and particularly our candidate, for your commitment to making this time to work to serve the public. We'll start the forum with a 2-minute opening statement from our candidate. Then he will be given 1 minute and 30 seconds to respond to each question. And at this point, let's have our timekeepers just put up their signs. 30 seconds, 15 seconds, stop. You can see those okay, Mr. Purfast?
Yes, I can.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. We hope that most, if not all, the questions submitted by the audience we could get to. I think we'll have time today to do that. Just a reminder to the audience that you can submit your questions at contactus@lwvnorthfieldmn.org. We also, as Melanie and Pat mentioned, have advanced questions submitted by email to the League. So let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Purfast. And I did ask him, by the way, ahead of time, if it's okay from here on out to refer to you as Jim, a sign of the fact that this is a local race and that we are friendly here in this League of Women Voters Forum. So your opening statement, please.
Well, thank you for hosting this. I'm Jim Purfast, candidate for Rice County Commissioner, District 1. I am a lifelong resident of Rice County, been married to my wife, Deb, for 38 years, and together we raised 3 children, Misty, Mark, and Matt. They all live and work in Rice County, and we're blessed with 4 grandchildren. I am a 5th-generation farmer. Our farming operation started back in 1857, and I am currently farming with sons Mark and Matt on our farm. We raise corn, soybeans, and we have an Angus cow-calf beef herd. We are a Minnesota Water Quality Certified farm, and our farm family has been honored as a past as Rice County Farm Family of the Year recipient. I am currently serving as a Rice County Soil and Water Board Supervisor, a healthy environment including clean water, sound environmental farming practices, improved pollinator habitat, and preservation of agricultural farmland is something I would proudly support if elected. Key priorities will be the continuing focus on strong economic and agriculture development that brings good paying jobs for our Rice County citizens. Housing shortages are a concern with Rice County. We need available housing to meet the needs of a wide range of people. I believe it's important to work together to strengthen collaborative working relationships between the county, townships, and cities. Working together can help strengthen efforts and help find creative solutions. I support comprehensive systems, including good roads, as well as trails for a healthy living and recreation. I'm ready for the questions.
Thank you so very much. And it is the case that a number of the questions will ask specifically about the issues you mentioned in your opening. So thank you very much. The first question is, what do you feel is one of the most pressing issues currently facing the county? And if elected, what will you do to address that most important or those 2 most important issues?
Well, I think one of the top things that come up to my mind is the financial needs and setting a balanced budget. We need quality services, I understand, to provide the people the way of living and the needs of the county. Some of the ways of probably getting through this, evaluate the budget needs, and maybe we'll need to delay some of the projects that are on slate right now. With this COVID pandemic going on, we're not quite sure where anything's going to shake out. I think another good way of probably cutting some costs would be talk to the employees of Rice County and the citizens to see if we can't streamline some different ideas to save some operating cost and potential money.
Thank you. And I might take the moderator's prerogative and ask a follow-up to that. Sure. Do you have a thought of what some of those projects might be to either delay or cut?
We'd have to look into that, and I think we'd need to take the advice of the county staff on doing some of that. I believe the role of a commissioner is to help rule or roll over top the the big picture items and make the decisions on what to do. Our county administrator, I have a lot of respect for her. I think Sarah does a wonderful job and would need to lean heavily on some of her thoughts with this process.
Okay, thank you. The next question is thinking long range. What might be some long range county planning initiatives you will work on if elected to office?
Well, I think the first thing we need to build relationships with our state and federal legislators. I believe there'll probably be more mandates coming down the pipeline at our county regarding the COVID crisis we're in. Another one would be how to attract economic and agricultural development within our county that brings the good paying jobs to our county. Workforce development to strengthen and build the skills of our people where they can fill these jobs if they do come in would be a high priority of mine. We have a shortage of housing at all levels. We need to figure out how we're going to house these people and get them in their right place. And comprehensive transportation systems. And with that, I believe if we're going to construct roads or rebuild roads, we should put in a trail system alongside of these roads to give the people that would like to bike or walk to work a safe place to do so.
You'd think that perhaps we'd sent you all the questions in advance, Jim. We did not do that, but they're all touching on the things you have just mentioned. So let me start with the question about COVID-19. How could you work, or would you work with local businesses to enhance worker protections to decrease the spread of COVID-19?
Well, I think we're going to find out after this COVID thing passes that some of the employment through the county will be able to work at home. And, you know, if you unclutter your offices a little bit, that should help a little bit. I think we need to consult with our public health department to see what they advise on the hand washing stations and the mask. I believe the mask is a small price to pay to be safe in this world. And that's kind of what I would lean towards there.
Okay, thank you very much. You mentioned housing. If elected, what specific steps would you take to try to address affordable housing needs in Rice County?
That's a good question. We need to have housing that meets the wide range of everybody. I believe in the preservation of farmland, so I hate seeing these developments move out into this good agricultural land. I think this housing development should be within our cities where they have the sewage systems, they have the water systems, and they're set up to handle the people. We need housing for all. You know, the seniors need help, the beginning families need help, all levels I think need the help, and we need to attract people in here to build the houses and continue on with it.
I think I'll move to the environment questions. What should the county do to help our natural resources adapt, our farmers to thrive, and our small communities and cities deal with changing and more volatile weather patterns?
Well, I think, well, you're kind of touching on the brink of climate change here too. I think as a county, if we could promote tree planting, you know, probably move to more of an electric car system. And with that, I would like to see the county bring in electric charging stations for the people that want to drive their electric cars, sustainable farming practices. An interesting study, we work with cover crops out here. And cover crops in the Rice Creek area up there west of Dundas showed a 29% reduction in nitrates coming out of the tile lines where cover crops were used. So practices like that will help. Another thing about cover crops on our own testing here, where the sun is beating down on that soil, our temperature readings in the summer will reach 100, 105 degrees, but underneath the cover crops, that soil sits there at about a 70, 75 degree temperature. So cover crops, I think, are a huge item that would help with the natural resources, basically, in all things. So.
And I think as a follow-up to that, Jim, the question we have here is, how can the county commissioners themselves encourage these kinds of farming practices, including low or no-till, water protecting practices, cover crops, as you've discussed already, rotational grazing. What about the role of the county commissioners in all those practices?
Well, being on the Soil and Water Board, what we've witnessed is that if you can get these people started with, like, say, a cover crop program or a no-till program, maybe do a little cost assistance there for the first couple of years. That's what we've done through our Soil and Water office. Once you get people kind of going, they see their own benefits themselves, and they'll continue to practice some of these different things. Basically, we need to educate the people on the goodness of some of these practices. As far as planting soybeans in our own operation here, we've been doing that for a number of years, and we do not till the soil. We're just out planting our soybeans between last year's corn rows. We're seeing about a 2 bushel reduction in yield, but by the time you eliminate all the tillage practices and the rocks you got to pick out of the tillage, it's beneficial for us. And I think if the county commissioners would support the Soil and Water Board to a level that would help promote some of these practices, it would help. $5 an acre incentive will get some of these farmers enticed enough to go with it. And personally, I've been pushing that around the lakes. I think around the lakes we need the cover crops, and we're working on it.
And to pick up on something you just said in that answer, many people don't really follow county government, the decisions and the actions of county government. I think most of us know about city, state, federal levels. If elected, how would you keep the residents of our county informed of the decisions facing you and the decisions you make as a county commissioner?
Well, personally, I'd like to be open to the public. Anyone can contact me whenever they would like. I plan on having some kind of a web page out there and listen to people of people of the county, and to get the word out there more. Maybe go through the public or more programs on some of the radio stations. We're trying to do that currently, and I feel like we're doing a good job, but social media is coming in big, especially with the younger generation, and we probably need to get a better page up for social media.
I was looking for my other questions about broadband, but I think I'll just stick right now with economic development questions. The first is a fairly general one, Jim. That is, how will you promote economic development in this county if you're elected?
Well, first of all, I think we need the good roads to bring in the economic development. We need the people, quality people here to perform the work skills. It makes me sad when these companies have to bust in people from the Twin Cities to fulfill the jobs within our county. And I think if we could educate the people through a workforce development program, that would help attract new businesses. And additionally, we talked on housing earlier, but we need a spot for these workers to live. They can't commute from different counties into our local area here to work. And if we had the housing and the good roads, I think businesses would come.
Related to that, the I-35 corridor has been viewed by the county as a great place for commercial and industrial development for many years. Discussions of motocross, racing parks. What principles should be used to guide future development of the I-35 corridor? And if I can ask the follow-up question, Without township zoning, how would you protect the corridor's current residents?
That's a wonder. That's a loaded question.
It's a big question, yes.
It is a big question. If we want economic development, we're going to have to build it someplace. We do it. And I understand nobody wants it in their own backyard, so to speak. But we're going to have to work through the different agencies to figure out where the best spot would be to locate some of these. I think the I-35 route is the most visible land that we have in this county. I think it's going to get developed probably first because of the access to the interstate. And I think we need to do studies on noise pollution, how it affects people, and foremost, we got to keep people safe with these industries or these groups of people that want to settle into our county.
You mentioned also bike trails. The Milltowns Trail continues to be planned and developed through Rice County. When it's done, it'll connect the Cicada Trail south to Mankato and the trail over the Dudley, on the Dudley Bridge over the Cannon River, east to Lake Billsby, Cannon Falls, onto Red Wing. What advantages or disadvantages do you see for the completion of this trail, and will you support its completion or not?
I am in favor of that trail. I think it would bring tourism into the area. I think it provides people another form of trying to stay healthy, live healthy, and I would be in favor of that. It's local spending that would come into our organizations, whether they're buying a dilly bar at the Dairy Queen or something, would be great. And people like just have fun. They need to get out and do something, and it's local and it's easy. And yeah, I'm in support of the trails.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to taxation finances. What factors do you think are important to consider when approving the annual county budget and determining the county's tax levy? The budget and then the levy.
All right. Well, we know we got to tax people to provide the services that are needed. I know taxes impact people differently. It's probably, in my mind, the fairest way to generate revenue. Yeah, nobody likes to pay taxes, but we need them. We got to have them. And setting the levy, I think the county's doing a good job of it now. I believe in, if you own something, you got to pay a little bit of a tax on there. And if we can look at ways to streamline the tax burden, maybe some issues like that would help us.
Okay, this is a question about social services in Rice County. Currently, we understand, I guess, that Rice County is turning away otherwise eligible individuals for some services due to lack of interpreters. What is your plan to address this need? How would you expand access to county services for limited English speaking or non-English speaking persons?
Well, I think up front they need to hire some diverse populations that speak the other languages. You need bilingual people employed up there. I think Mark Shaw is doing a good job with social services. I don't totally understand the program at this point. As well as probably other things within the county I don't understand, but I will try my best to get educated and brought up to speed on the issues that are concerning to the county. So we need to support the people of Rice County. There's people out there that definitely need help, and if we can get them going and educate them and get them into the right job, I think we've got some progressive, citizens in our county that are going to be beneficial to the county.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take just a little bit of a change here. This is kind of a quick lightning question. And that is, would you give us 3 words you would use to describe the characteristics that will make you a strong public servant? 3 words.
3 words. All right.
Yeah.
I'm a good listener. I'm a hard worker. And I listen to understand, not to respond.
Okay, thank you. And this is a little bit of a follow-up to that. Would you talk to us about your process for making very difficult decisions, which of course you would need to do should you be elected to the county commissioners?
Well, you got to listen to the people that are involved with the project. And you have to understand what both sides are looking to achieve out of their wishes. And then you need to educate yourself and make the decision. And the constituents, I would hope, would come forward and help us make that choice. What I believe in and what some of the other people, or the majority of the people that I represent, could be 2 different things, and I would need to go with the majority of the people.
Okay, thank you. You're being very succinct. We don't need those timekeepers at the moment, so thank you very much. Don't go away, timekeepers. Let's see. Oh, yes, some of the discussions in county work and in county living involve negotiations with township boards. Could you talk about any experience you have with the communication between county and township?
Well, I know that the township boards rely on the county for some funding. I've been attending several of the board meetings throughout the different townships, and they all have their concerns, they all have their problems, and they all have their wishes that they would like to get accomplished. Time-wise, I haven't made it to all of my township meetings, but my goal is to make at least 1 meeting a year through each one of them. I think we need collaborative working relationships between the county, the townships, and the cities within the districts or the county. And I believe the township's officers or the township boards are a vital part of our operation. I believe in starting at the ground level and keeping things simple and working up from there and eventually getting up to the federal level. But it all starts, I think, at the township level. And I compliment the people that are on the township boards doing the work that's necessary to run the townships.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to stop here for a minute. I don't see other questions coming in from the audience. I've been also looking at those. Can I ask Melanie, is there anything I'm missing there?
There are no questions coming in, so please email at contact us. It's included in the invitation.
Great, thank you. And as I said, Jim, you're being nice and concise with your answers. We're not going to just stay on to drag it all out for you. If I have a couple more questions, and then we will have time for your closing statement as well. One about the fiscal health of the county that came in is, what are some of the fiscal concerns of the county? And you've addressed them a little bit, that you will address first as commissioner if you're elected to office.
Well, from what I understand, some of the long-term commitments the county is going to have to decide on is probably a new jail, or if we continue to send our prisoners or our incarcerated people to other counties. According to Sheriff Dunn, he says it's extremely expensive to do so. Yeah, we'll have to see where there's a study being performed now, and we'll see how that shakes out at the end. The COVID budget's going to have its impacts. There's no doubt about it. We're not sure how much or where or how it's going to impact us, but it will have some implications with the county. Oh, other things coming up at us. You know, we've remodeled the courthouse the last couple of years. We've remodeled the government service buildings. We're doing a highway building remodeling projects. The county's invested a lot of money currently on buildings and in structure that's going to help us out long term. And I'm assuming there'll be more stuff coming forward at us as we continue to go. But yeah, those are some of the main things that jump out at me real quick.
And if we could ask a follow-up to that, please, would you let us know what you know about the technological capacity for the county government to talk to state government, and whether there is something to be addressed there, just in our technology capacities as we're doing reporting and so forth, whether it's COVID or social services?
I guess I am not sure on that. I'll look into that if you'd like and get back to you guys, but I don't know the correspondence that's currently happening between the county and the state or the federal. As we're going to need assistance in some of these programs if it's provided.
Thank you.
I don't claim to know everything. And if I don't know it, I'm going to try my best to research it out and understand it at the end.
It's probably good. County government is complex.
It's a learning curve even, you know, going into this. And, yeah, it's fun talking to people and getting out.
Yeah, good. And yes, we do wish we could be talking to people in person. Here's one question that has come in now. What is your position on expansion of feedlots and environmental impact statements related to that?
Well, I believe as long as the rules are followed, people should be able to grow their farming operations. And as long as the impacts are there and they follow the state guidelines and county guidelines, I would be in favor of operations being able to grow.
And is that inclusive of regulating them in any way relative to size or water quality nearby?
Well, I think the guidelines are pretty laid out through the state already.
Yeah.
So many animal units, you need to jump through this hoops, or if you go bigger than that, there's another set of hoops. And I think the state's got it laid out pretty good. And I don't think we want to reinvent the wheel with it. But it's like I said, as long as the guidelines are followed and the rules are followed, I think it's okay for these operations to expand. We need that. We need the economic or the agricultural development, and with that would come more jobs and the housing needed and everything else that kind of falls in line with that. Like if Walmart comes into town, I don't know if they're regulated on how many square feet they can build. So everyone's got to be on a level playing field in my mind.
Okay, on the same line of questioning, somebody asks, what are your goals for the county to help prevent higher temperatures locally as a consequence of global warming? You've touched on it some.
Well, on the global warming, I think we have to explore different fuel sources for our county vehicles. Would be a good spot to start. Probably install electric vehicle charging stations throughout the county so the people that do drive the electric cars can plug in and get charged up. I think we need to promote more tree planting and the use of rain barrels. Another idea I've got is, buy local. Go to your farmer's market and buy the food instead of having it shipped up from California or wherever it might be raised. Bike and walking trails. If we get the decent trails out there, we'll have people probably biking and walking to work at some level, which would save combustible gasoline. And then if we could promote agricultural practices that reduce tillage and encourage no-till or reduced till, I think that would help with the global warming also. I lost you. I
Oh,
don't.
so sorry, I didn't unmute. Welcome to my teaching struggles.
know.
What are two things the county is doing especially well, and how can you support the county to continue those practices? Or you could do 3 or 4 things if you'd like, but maybe 2 things the county's doing well.
Well, to me, the county has been really working on a good transportation system, and I'd like to continue that to happen. I don't know if it's a wheelage tax or the special taxes that are put on some of this, but you see the money, we call it boots on the ground, so to speak. You see the money being spent in our local county here, and it's making a huge difference in my mind. The road quality is improved. The counties, in my mind, the snow removal is adequate. I would like to see maybe a little earlier push in the morning to get the early morning people to work, but Dennis Luby's doing a great job of doing that. I think we have a strong administration and department heads within our county. As we all know, it takes wages to keep good people employed locally, or they seem to migrate up to the cities or some other county. And we need to keep up with the good paying wages we have to keep the quality of people within our county that is required.
Thank you. And the concomitant question to that is 2 areas that you think the county most needs to improve, and what you would do to support improvement in those couple areas.
That's a good question. I got to think on this one for a second, but
Take your time. You have time. Actually, you don't have time. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
right.
I could ask it twice, perhaps. No.
So one place we might be able to improve, and we talked about this a couple questions back, was bilingual staff to help the residents of the county speak with county employees a little better. That would be one area that I could think of off the top of my head. And a diverse workforce is something that we've got going, and we need to continue with that. And, as these people come into this community, it doesn't matter to me what color skin they are, whether it's brown, black, or white. I think we're all equal, and we all need to have a fair shot at making a livable wage and a living in this county that will support their families.
And related to that, a new question. You've mentioned the need for more housing. Are you particularly, the question specifically is, are you in favor of multi-unit housing? And if so, where might that be?
I would be in favor of multi-unit housing. And again, I'll go back to the fact that I think the housing needs to be within our city limits. So one of the cities within our county. It gives them all the resources they need of the sewer and the water and the other things that the municipalities provide for the housing environment. We have different tax implication levels at all, throughout the county, and yeah, I would be in favor of the multi-unit housing.
This is what we're getting used to. The questions are coming in on the web and then getting typed into my document. And so give us about 5 more seconds to have the typing get finished.
Now, some of the stuff we're talking about streamlining, if we could streamline,
Right. Well, it is kind of astounding that we have even this capacity, isn't it?
What's going on?
So somebody's asking about the cleanliness of our lakes and that people cannot eat the fish from our lakes. What can commissioners do to clean up our water so we could fish and eat them like we did as kids? And maybe you did that as a kid if you've been around as long as you have.
Yes, I did. What The lakes, yeah, they're a concern. You got to remember how many years did it take us to get in this situation that we're in. I'd like to think that it's going to be fun in my mind to watch the Roberts Lake project with that septic system that went around and is being pumped into the city of Faribault now for treatment. I'll go back to my cover crop program again, where if we're reducing nitrates coming out of the tile lines by using cover crops, if we could use a 5-mile circle around the lakes and probably enhance our cover crop use, that would help with some of the nitrates. I think the lake owners themselves need to play a big part in this. We probably don't need them plush green golf course lawns right up to the lake's edge. There's fertilizer that's leaving them lawns and getting into the lakes. We need to protect our lakes, and I think it's going to take a combination of all of us working together to improve our water quality. And we depend on water quality so much in this world that I think progress is being made. I think it's going to take time to see some of the results. It probably took us 100 years to get here, and we can't expect it to all go away in 3 years.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned earlier the workforce issues and the increasing diversity of our population in our county. I wonder what role commissioners would play in supporting and increasing outreach to all of the communities of people living in the county.
Well, if education is probably the number one thing that tops up on top of my head here. We need to educate them. I think Genio is doing a wonderful job when they're offering to put their workers' kids through college. If we could have more, or through the VOTEC program, I should say, not college. Well, it is a college. If we could have more companies step forward with something like that, you would have a better educated, younger group of people coming up. I don't necessarily believe personally that everyone needs a 4-year or an 8-year college degree. I think the VOTEC is sufficient for providing a workforce out there that would be beneficial to our county.
Thank you. I do not see other questions that I have missed. If I have missed a question, Melanie, you'll tell me right now, please. I have one last one to ask before final statements. All right, she says no more questions. Here's my final one for you, Jim. It's kind of a 30,000-foot question. What top change would you want to make in this county to make it the best of our 87 Minnesota counties in which to live?
I would like to have everyone working a good job that pays for their family expenses. I would like to see Rice County bring in economic and agricultural development that gives us a wide range of options for people to work. And I think we got a lot of things going right currently. We just need to keep building on them things. In our operation out here, we've farmed the same land for 163 years. I'm talking as a farmer now about agriculture. And you damn right we care about what happens to our soil. We're not out here just farming it to reap everything we can off of it. We're investing the resources back into this land to make it productive and profitable for my grandkids that are sitting in the other room right now. So that's a quick and short of it.
Thank you very much. I think the time has come for a closing statement. We give you a minute to be concise, and I would cede the floor to you one more time. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I would like to thank the League of Women Voters and all the people who asked questions and took time today to sit in on this, to understand my views. I admit I do not know everything, and I'll do my best to educate myself on the issues as they arise. I am proud to be a lifelong resident of Rice County. I think it's a great place to live, work, and raise a family. I've been actively involved in my community. I'm an experienced leader, and I believe in giving back. And I am committed to working for the people of Rice County and listening to their concerns. Finally, the government needs to be financially sound, and I support budgeting practices that will support necessary quality services, yet have a reasonable tax implication for our county residents. Government needs to run efficiently, no different than how one would run their own business. I would be honored to represent Rice County as your commissioner and appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jim Purfast, I apologize, running for Rice County Commissioner, District 1. Again, I would like to remind people on this call that the views expressed in this forum are those of the candidate, not of the League of Women Voters and its co-sponsors. Sponsorship of this forum is not an endorsement of any specific candidate coming from the League of Women Voters of Northfield and Cannon Falls. And now for our closing, our voter education chair of the League's Voter Service Committee, Melanie Fries.
The League of Women Voters of Northfield and Cannon Falls, Academic Civic Engagement Office of St. Olaf College, Center for Community and Civic Engagement at Carleton College, and Northfield Area Chamber of Commerce would like to thank our internet audience for viewing and St. Olaf students for helping with timing. We would especially like to thank our candidate for being part of the democratic process by running for office and being willing to serve our community. The League also researches issues important to our members and to the health of our communities. If you are interested in learning more about what we do and how you can make a difference, please visit us at lwvmn.org. Membership is open to both men and women age 16 and older. You can find more information about the candidates and voting at mnvotes.org and lwvmn.org. Links to all candidate forums and additional voter information can be found at our local website at lwvnorthfieldmn.org. Again, thank you for coming, and remember to vote.